Okay, I know the boss is breathing on my neck. She's like, I only get 3 minutes. Jody will be coming up on her 10th year of selfless giving of West Coast Impact. I want to welcome some people who Jody has had a part in their life. Stand up front here real quick. I want to get a quick picture. Where is her chair? Because I don't know if Jody really knows what's going on. Jody, relax and enjoy. This next person I want to introduce is back and forth to Washington, and he makes time to come out for the homeschooling community. I think he should be president, myself. I want to introduce Congressman Tom McClintock.
I just dropped by to offer a few words of encouragement to all of you and the enormous contribution that you are making to our entire society, and I might add, the contribution you're making to our public schools as well. And let me explain that if I could. I think that we ought to pause to reflect upon what you're doing and two self-evident truths that we about our own human nature. First, I think it ought to be crystal clear to everybody that the most jealous guardians of our children's education are parents. Home years ago when Senator Phil Gramm was being interviewed alongside a professional education bureaucrat who asserted that she knew far better how to educate his children than he did. He says, "You sure about that?" And she says, "Yes, with all due respect, Senator, I'm a professional." And he says, "All right." He says, "Well, then tell me, what are their names?" And the second self-evident truth we ought to pause and reflect upon is the fact that it is competition that breeds excellence. Will and Ariel Duran, in their history of civilization, asked the very simple question, what makes Ford a good car? Chevrolet. Competition. And families across America, in increasing measure, I think are sensing that the public school system has drifted very far from these principles. And they're doing something uniquely American. De Tocqueville spoke about it a century and a half ago when he reflected upon the differences between France and America, what had made the American Republic such a tremendous success, and yet following the same principles, in fact, following the American lead, the French Revolution had ended in ghastly failure. And one of the differences he noted is that when a bridge washed out in France, the townspeople would wait around and wait and wait and wait, and finally maybe a deputation would come out from Paris and they would inspect the damage, and then they'd go away. And then the townspeople would wait and wait and wait for another deputation to come out and do a second assessment. And then maybe a few years later, a deputation from Paris might come out and actually fix the bridge. He said in America it's completely different. When the bridge washes out in America, a citizens committee forms overnight and they fix the bridge. And I think our nation was founded on these self-evident truths, that there are certain rights that predate government, that they would exist in a state of nature without government. Therefore, they don't come from government. Rather, we create governments to protect these natural rights. And one of the most fundamental of those is the right to raise our children according to our own values and our own standards. Government is supposed to be there to protect that right. Fact of the matter is, education is not the job of the schools. That's the job of individual parents. The schools are there to help. And when they stop helping and start obstructing, then people have a natural right to restore their own prerogatives of parents, and that is something that each of you has chosen to do. And ironically, by doing so, the homeschool movement is providing long-needed competition to the public schools. And more importantly, I think it's dragging the American public education, kicking and screaming, into the 21st century. And the reason I say that is because, as you have all learned, the internet can now bring the very best curriculum from the very best educators in America right into your own homes and living rooms. Interactive programming can now provide individualized instruction for every student based upon that student's own abilities and aptitudes. And parents now have an infinite range of choices over what's best for their individual children. It is an ideal, decentralized, very American system. And it's hated and feared by the, what should we call it, the education industrial complex that depends upon trapping students in government schools where parents are increasingly discouraged from interfering. So you are the better way for education, and through the pooling of your resources and the internet, America's homeschoolers today are vastly exceeding the educations of their public school counterparts, and you can see that in all of the test results. You can see that in all of the university admissions. Homeschooling ends up on top in virtually every study that I've seen. Parents no longer have to master the disciplines in order to teach their children. Instead, you can access the masters in each discipline and then manage those resources for your own child's unique needs and interests and abilities. The only problem with this is it's really, really hard to field a team from home. And that's why this organization is so vital, and why I am so honored to have your invitation once again today, and to have your charter to fight for this right to raise your children according to their own individual needs and your best judgment. And this athletic league fills that one remaining gap, the difficulty that you have in fielding a team from home. And the volunteers who have made this possible deserve our gratitude and our respect and our admiration. And I'm here today just on behalf of the overall community to express that tonight, and particularly Jody, to make this presentation on behalf of the grateful community.
Notes of encouragement, gratitude of how you and this league has encouraged them. And I would like to say personally thank you. I've been with you for 9 years now, and you guys have been a blessing to me. Also, I just want to say a quick thank you to Beth. She is the one who got all of this together.
You know, I did this all by myself. Tracy Lynn, thank you very much. She's sitting down. And Beth Boyum, where are you? Thank you very much. I'm gonna ruin our little itinerary real quick. Introduce Brooklyn. Why don't you come up here? I was sent a letter by the Robinsons, and on behalf of them, Brooklyn is going to read it.
Jody has been more than a coach to our daughter for the past 6 years, and more to me than a friend. She was a motivator and mentor for Maddie on the court and off. Times when Maddie could not express in words the loneliness she felt or the anxiety she endured, Jody was just present. Even when the team lost most of their games, Maddie would come home saying it was the best day of her life. That feeling of optimism and hope comes to the players from their coach. Now that Maddie is away at college, she has been able to use the discipline she learned from her time with Jody to help her make the crew team as a walk-on. She says that Jody always told her to reach for the moon, and if she fell short, she would still land with the stars. Personally, I have valued life with Jody. At my hardest moments, she was a silent presence. Words cannot express what her friendship has meant, and few have been blessed with someone they can just sit with and feel love. Jody gives unceasingly to her teams, their families, and her friends. She loves her teams beyond measure, and she is a daily example of selflessness. When she is struggling in her own life, she still carries on each day with the commitment she makes to her players. When life is challenging, she draws closer to God. Jody models what it means to walk with Christ, and she faithfully and humbly serves him each day. We are blessed to call Jody a friend, and she is a beautiful sister to have in Christ. Thank you, Jody. Love, Shauna Robinson.
Bill said a minute and a half. That wouldn't begin to tell you all that about that person. But anyway, yes, I've known Jody the longest. I've been there from the beginning. And 4 years ago, when I joined this other family, I became a volleyball grandma. But 3 months out of the year, I was the volleyball grandma to this one because she was only 2. And I had a blast. Blankets and tents, outside with the bike, everything. It was fun. And I admire my daughter, and I honor her for all that she does. I don't know how she does it. I go home with a headache sometimes after the volleyball game. But anyway, win or lose, you guys are great. I enjoy every game. I enjoy every game. But I asked the Lord really what I was going to say. And this will be a short minute and a half. So I'll put the glasses on. It's Proverbs 31:25-31. Strength and honor are her clothing. She shall rejoice in time to come. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and on her tongue is the law of kindness, always. She watches over the ways of her household, and does not eat the bread of idleness. I've never seen her idle. Even when she sits on a chair, she has a computer going on her lap. And does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her. Many daughters have done well, but you excel them all. Charm is deceitful, and beauty is passing. But a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gate. And I think all the praises that you guys all gave her is praising her in the gate and honoring her today for all she's done. And I'm proud to call her my daughter. I've been proud since she was a little girl. And I love them all very dearly, and I love you.
Second father and her uncle at her own. Second father, that's neat. Her dad is my younger brother. And I got to see her a little time from birth until she was about 5 or 6. And then they moved out from the East Coast, and I had to drive a truck to bring all the furniture. And we hit Wyoming with wet sleeping bags, a wet tent, and a wet dog. And so Jody and I were riding in with the dog. And we hit Wyoming, and we got into a blizzard. And the only thing we could see is this semi in front of us. I mean, it was a total whiteout except for that truck. So we finally got to a little America and got off the highway, and there was nothing available. So Jody and I drove up in wet sleeping bags and a wet dog, and we slept through the night. And I think that's when Jody and I first bonded. And ever since then, she really has been a second daughter. I have 2 sons, and I know that she's a sister to
to one of my sons, and that she's been a daughter to me. If I had a daughter, it would be like Jody. She has been an inspiration to me. She was an inspiration to her family. And Jody, I can't tell you how much I love you. You know, you've been an unbelievable example to my sons, and they to you. And I wish you all the best.
This is our daughter, Rhoda Johnson.
Okay. I'll try to get that right. Hey, Mom. I'm constantly amazed by your ability to handle a teen, a 6-year-old, a job, like, uh-oh. Can we read it? Yeah. That's my speech.
Our next is a person who can have a volleyball, all her own volleyball team. That'd be Heather Lisa Mister.
Not quite a team, but my roof hears a lot of serves. Our family has known Jody for about 4 years. We came into the league before it was West Coast Impact with no volleyball experience. Today, I have 3 girls involved, and she's impacted all of them in different but important ways. Jody's love for the league goes beyond her own team. Although my 13-year-old is far from playing on Legacy, she has personally taken time to encourage her. And my 15-year-old is now trying to pursue club, and Jody has taken time to help her develop her skills and make that dream a reality. My 17-year-old a year or so ago suffered a brain injury, and during that time, Jody was there supporting our family and helping my daughter through a very dark time. Jody's a tough coach with very high expectations, but she knows her players inside and out, and she challenges them every day. She speaks with truth and gentleness, and her girls love her for it. Jody, you're a visionary, a leader, an inspiration, and more importantly, you love Christ and those around you when they desperately need it. You're an incredible role model for my girls. And I thank God for who you are and for the lives you're changing.
This person is on a team, and she gets to be coached by Jody next year on varsity, and that'd be Hattie Inscombe.
I joined when we were still known as ACA, and even though I don't remember much about playing time during those first 2 years, I have great memories of the coaches in the entire league since the beginning. Though I haven't played directly under Coach Jody yet, I have been coached by her at different times. This summer at the West Coast camp, she taught me how to float serve, and even though my serve isn't nearly as exciting as it was before, I can say that it definitely goes over more consistently now. So as far as I'm concerned, her coaching skills are fantastic. Impact is a very appropriate name for this ministry. Coach Jody and Coach Bill and all the others who put so much effort into running the league have positively impacted many lives through their work. Over the past 2 years, West Coast has grown exponentially and has continued to enrich the greater homeschool community by providing competitive sports for junior and senior high school students. With the increase in size has also come an increase in skill level and competitiveness, and through this growth, the coaches and leaders have maintained a gracious and Christ-like attitude, and this has continued to inspire us as players to do the same. As individual athletes, we're encouraged to improve our skills and give 100% on the court, which is not for self-advancement, but for the greater good of the team. So thank you for providing a safe and affordable option for homeschoolers to be able to participate in competitive team sports. Thank you for setting a Christ-like example to those involved in the league. Thank you for all the time, thought, and energy that you have invested in the greater benefit of the league, and for everything that you do to glorify God through this ministry. We love you and appreciate you so much.
This person is a lifelong friend, and I really wanted him to come and join us. And this is Kelly Moretti.
Good evening. Billy called me down here and asked me to speak, say a few words about Jody. And I said, where do I begin? Anyway, I didn't hesitate. I definitely wanted to come down here and say a few words. It started out, my earliest memories of Jody and Billy started in the summers of high school when we used to hang out at Magic Carpet Golf in Carnelian Bay. We couldn't talk on cell phones because they weren't invented yet. But we became fast friends. We all liked multi-sports. Jody especially was never the biggest, the tallest, the strongest, or the fastest in these sports, but it didn't stop her. She continued to play basketball, volleyball, and participate in other sports as well. And she was on teams that had very good records in one state. She was on teams that had, thanks, twice. And she was on teams that had losing records as well, but it didn't stop her. She kept going. Fast forward out of high school into college, the three of us actually roomed together in college, and Jody picked up her passion with speech therapy. Very quietly, diligently, she persevered and got through her education, started her family and her career, just like I did, and we kind of went our separate ways, but we always stayed in touch. Birthday cards here and there, and seeing how we're doing. Through that time, Jody and Billy got involved with this program. And I see a lot in her today, in all of you guys, that I saw in her growing up through high school and through college. Just that conviction in her beliefs, in her heart, her spirit, basically stubbornness, to keep going, to get what she wanted. And it didn't matter if she wasn't the strongest, the fastest, the best player. It was the ability to play. It was the ability to get those things that she wanted to do. And she accomplished that. And it's an honor to be here.
I'm beginning teens here with Hannah. Hannah, I am dating her. 9 years ago? 6 years ago. And her name is Julia Glatz.
I feel like I'm going to be preaching to the choir when I say all these things. I was fortunate enough to be one of the original players that Jody coached through when it was formerly called ACA. And Jody has always been dedicated to teaching volleyball well while making the experience fun for players. She puts an incredible amount of time and energy into her coaching tactics. Jody and Bill created a fun space for true growth in volleyball technique and teamwork. I remember during practice, they would make our conditioning interesting by having us jump up and down with our hands and feet spread wide while yelling, "I'm a star, I'm a star!" To see Jody's passion for coaching develop into what it is today is truly something to honor. Thank you, Jody and Bill. You truly enriched my high school years.
This last person was on one of the first boys teams, and I thought it very appropriate that he speak. Josh Hilton, where are
Hi. So, I played on the Panthers varsity team the last couple years of high school, and I played for the Fair Oaks Eagles team before that. And West Coast Impact has truly been a blessing to me through all 4 years of high school. It has primarily taught me what it means to play as a Christian athlete, and seeing that exemplified by Bill and Jody and all the teams in every practice, every game has meant so much to me. Just seeing what it means to push your hardest and not play to win or play to look good, but play for God's glory and play to just do your best in every situation. And that has meant such a big deal to me as it was the first Christian league that I was a part of, and the first experience that I had in that kind of situation. It was just something that I can't really overlook easily. And also in this, as a team captain the last couple years of the Panthers, I've learned so much about leadership and encouraging our team, helping the younger players, and just empowering everyone to push their hardest no matter what. It's been a humbling but such a rewarding experience throughout everything, and I can't thank you and Bill so much for the things you're doing for these students and these athletes through West Coast Impact. So thank you so much.
One more person, actually. York College women's volleyball head coach from 96 to 97. He's been coaching he's been in volleyball throughout his high school career, so I'm cutting it short. He now coaches for Gold Cow Juniors, and this year I believe he's coaching the 14s. Trevin Morgan.
Most of you kind of wonder, who is this guy and why is he up here? I had the privilege of actually coaching Boda this last year at Gold Cow, and met Jody a year ago, and Bill, this guy over here. And it's kind of interesting. I've been kind of listening to all the speeches and trying to figure out exactly why I was here. And we actually have a common link. We are both coaches, and we both care about the kids that we coach. And one of the things that I noticed, I'm going to turn this because it's right up my nose at the moment. One of the things I noticed is that I'm looking at alumni, these young ladies right here. I'm looking at the future alumni. And this young lady right here said something that I thought was really pointed. This is a mission. This is exactly Jody's mission, is to coach and to influence the kids that she has been coaching. One of the things that Jody and I have talked about on a couple occasions is that I treat the kids that have played for me like they're my daughters. I've been coaching on and off since 1989. That makes me 50 years old. One of the big things, and Boda can attest to this wherever she's at, Boda knows that no matter what, whether they play for me or they're done playing for me, she can come to me and talk to me because she's my daughter. They signed off. When you guys play for Jody, when you guys are part of this league, she cares for you like she cares for Boda, like she cares for Melody, like she cares for her other daughter. I don't know your name. I'm sorry. We've only met like twice. What? Masha. Right there. But she cares for every one of you, boys and girls. I would really right now would like to tell you guys something. You should follow that example. Every day of your life, you have a shining star that shows you how to be as an adult in a world that fights against what you believe in. My background, just to let you know, I coached college, as he mentioned. I have a national championship under my belt. So what? Doesn't really mean anything. The things that impact are the people that we deal with on a daily basis. My college coach just retired. I got a letter from one of the former players that said, hey, can you write a speech? He's retired. How do you write a speech for someone who impacted your life? The best way to honor them is to go out and do what they were doing and amplify it. So I encourage you to do that. Congratulate you on what you've been doing. Good job.
Love never gives up. Love cares for more than others than for yourself. Love doesn't want it, doesn't have it. Love doesn't strut, doesn't have a swelled head, doesn't force itself on others, isn't always me first, doesn't fly off the handle, doesn't keep score of the sins of others, doesn't revel in others' grovel, takes pleasure in the flowering of truth, puts up with everything, trusts God always, and look for the best, and that's the way. This is her. That's the best way I can describe her. She doesn't want to say anything.